Well, howdy ho, friends of the farm. So today we're going to be pulling the onions. We put them in the ground in April and it's now August. They're ready to go. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to tell when the onions are ready, what you got to do when you pull them out of the ground, and then I'm going to be doing some processing. And that's going to be how to store our onions for a couple months, as well as chopping them up and throwing them in the freezer so we get to use them all year round. So we got a little bit of work to do. Let's get going. Okay, so it's super simple how to tell when the onions are ready to harvest. The first thing is the time. You know, we planted them in April, it's August now. But what's changed in the last couple weeks is that the tops of the onions have fallen over on some of them. And that's probably the biggest sign you'll see is when the top of the onion falls over. If it doesn't fall over, the other thing you can look at is what's called dieback. And that's where the top of the green part just starts to wilt and the ends get yellow and dry up. So both of those are signs. Now I'm fortunate enough that I can tell also by just how they look. You can see actual onion that's grown almost out of the ground on a lot of these guys. So we're going to get these onions out of the ground. And the first thing you want to do, you just don't want to take them into the house and start using them. The onions actually have to cure for a couple days. And there's a couple different ways you can do that. Hey girl. And what I've done is I just pull them out of the ground and let them sit right onto the ground. And we want to let them sit for about 2 to 3 days. And they dry out at that point. So I'll go ahead and pull this one right here, a little bit smaller. So you'll see you have the roots and you have the top. And we'll just let it sit on the ground. And over the 2 to 3 days, depending on humidity, the bottom roots, you want them to dry up and get nice and crispy and crunchy, and the tops will also do the same. If you're going to be having some rain, it's not a good idea to let them cure outside because you don't want them to get any kind of water at this point. So I'm going to shut off the irrigation lines to these rows, and I'm going to pull them out here on the ground. We do actually have a break in the monsoons according to the weather report for the next several days, and hopefully we won't get any rain while these are curing. If so, I'm going to have to collect them and I'll run them into the shop and let them finish curing them there. But that's it for pulling them out and letting them cure for a couple days. And then we're going to come back and then we'll start in on the rest of the processing. So we got some onions to get out of the ground. Let's get going. Maracas. Good ones. So that's it for now. It's pretty simple, just pulling them out of the ground and letting them lay down there on the ground. I might flip them over every day or two just so that they get enough airflow and dry on their own. So we'll check on them in a couple days to see how they're drying out and curing. Okay, so we did get some monsoon. So I brought the onions in the shop. I let them stay out of the ground for, it was probably 4 or 5 days actually. And brought them in the last day or so and been letting them finish drying out on the table in here. And that's out working out nicely. The bulbs are nice and firm. The tops are drying up, as you can see here. And those roots at the bottom have dried up and are nice and brittle. Okay, pretty simple to just clean these up. I just take the loose skins off and pull all the dry part of the roots. And then I just cut off the top, leaving about 1 inch or so. And it's good to go. If we can get a good couple months, just like a typical onion that you would get in the store for short shelf life. So I'm gonna do that with the rest of these, but I'm also gonna take it one step further with a bunch of them, and we're gonna peel them, chop them, and we'll throw them in the freezer. So we use that. Okay. Okay, for the last part, I wanted to show you chopping and freezing the onions. That's one thing that makes it so convenient, is having fresh frozen onions in your freezer. No matter what you're cooking, you can just go and grab a handful, throw it in your frying pan, and life is good. So what we have, we bought this commercial chopper many years ago. Definitely worth the investment if you do a lot of chopping. We use it probably at least once or twice a week. Anything that you want chopped, you can put right in here. It's just got a very heavy weight on top, and as you can see in there, we got the bladed waffle grid there, and you just put whatever you want there, slam it down. I put a little mixing bowl underneath, and that fits nicely. So you can probably get this online. I know we got ours online, but you can probably get them at a restaurant supply store as well. So you can certainly do it by hand, chopping, but with the amount of onions that I'm gonna do today, I've got a 5-gallon bucket we're gonna bag up and throw in the freezer. We're gonna go ahead and use the commercial chopper here. So got quite a bit of onions to get chopped and bagged. So let's get going.